Liverpool did it again. They showed the heart of a champion.
Critical Liverpool, but after the game, they must be thinking, well, you're winning. And that's what really good. I was part of a team like that. Your memory plays tricks with you, and you look back and people think you played well every week. Far from it. But you found a way to win.
A team that even in its worst moments knows how to suffer and survive. And when it is time to strike, they do it with absolute class. Anfield witnessed a battle between last season's top two, with Arsenal arriving as the best version of themselves in years, full of confidence and control, determined to prove they can topple the champions.
We didn't do a game plan to frustrate them. We did it to win it. I think we elevated the game and the dominance to a point that they have to raise it. They did, especially from the 60 to 78, when then you could see that there were no margins in the game. And then when that happens, the game is going to be decided in two ways. One, with an individual error, and two, with a magic moment. And Szoboszlai created a moment that it was incredible, that has won in the game, and that was the difference, nothing else.
The first half belonged to Arsenal. They dominated the ball, pushed Liverpool back, and looked ready to finally break the curse of Anfield, a stadium that has haunted them for decades. But football is cruel, and Liverpool are merciless. When the second half began, Arne Slot's men unleashed their finest 45 minutes yet. Fast, aggressive, and unstoppable, transforming chaos into control and doubt into conviction. Then came the decisive moment. A sensational free kick from Szoboszlai. A strike of pure brilliance that silenced Arsenal's charge and lifted Anfield into the sky, sending the message loud and clear.
It's Szoboszlai. Oh, that's an incredible free kick!
And beyond this single match, there is the bigger picture. Liverpool have now scored in 37 consecutive games, the longest scoring run in the entire history of the club. Proof that under Arne Slot, the Reds have perfected what was already perfect. Liverpool 1, Arsenal 0, and the Premier League have just learned something very important. Liverpool are still the champions to beat, and Arsenal, once again, are the team that almost made it.
I've never believed Arsenal's problem was finishing. Arsenal's problem is creating.
The decisive moment came from Liverpool's number 8. Once again outstanding, this time operating from right back, Szoboszlai found the top corner of the top-end net with a thunderous free kick from all of 30 yards, just 7 minutes before the end. It was a strike of pure brilliance, the kind of goal that defines matches and lives long in memory. The moment of genius was just the reward for the champions, who after a tense and cagey first half, grew stronger, faster, and more dominant with every passing minute of the second. Arne Slot's Liverpool go into the September international break as the only team with maximum points, 9 from 9, a perfect start to a season where every detail matters. The first half told a different story. Arsenal suffered an early blow when William Saliba was forced off with an injury. And Liverpool quickly had the first real chance of the game. Ryan Gravenberch burst through the midfield with power, feeding Cody Gakpo, who cut inside and fired just wide from the edge of the box. Arsenal's threat came mostly from set pieces. Alisson Becker was called into action to push away a Noni Madueke strike that came after a Declan Rice corner, a reminder of his unmatched reflexes. Both sides insisted on playing out from the back, drawing the pass deliberately. That risk nearly cost Arsenal when David Raya misplaced a pass. Virgil van Dijk read it perfectly, muscled Martin Zubimendi off the ball, and set up Salah. The rebound fell to McAllister, but his shot was blocked. Raya, for all his qualities, debatedly alongside Alisson as the very best goalkeeper in the Premier League, still shows vulnerability in moments like these. At the other end, Milos Kerkez and Van Dijk were alert, cutting out dangerous runs from Madueke and Jurrien Timber. The half ended goalless, but full of tension. The match perfectly balanced. The second half, however, belonged to Liverpool. They raised the tempo, took control of the midfield, and suffocated Arsenal's build-up. Hugo Ekitike thought he had broken the deadlock when he smashed home after a Raya save from Florian Wirtz, but the flag went up for offside. Still, the pressure was building. Anfield could feel the storm coming, and the volume inside the Kop rose with every attack. The champions pressed harder. Gravenberch threaded a pass that should have left Ekitike one-on-one with Raya, but the move just escaped them. Arsenal were pushed back deeper and deeper, defending their box as the wave of red attacks became relentless. Then came the 83rd minute. Szoboszlai stepped up, and with one of the fiercest free kicks Anfield has ever seen, he launched the ball into the top corner. A goal that may already be contender for Liverpool's goal of the season, and perhaps even the Premier League's. Breaking down Szoboszlai's wonder strike is to understand why he's quickly becoming one of the most influential players in Liverpool's new era.
0-0, what a way to win a game. What a goal. Goal of the season in game of the season.
The game's only goal, a 32-yard free kick that flew into the top corner, was a reminder of both his power and his precision. A strike that finally beat David Raya for the first time this season and sealed a priceless win for the champions. When he lined up the shot, it looked too far out, almost impossible. But Szoboszlai struck it with such venom and accuracy that Raya could do nothing but watch as the ball soared past him. The brilliance of that moment wasn't just in the execution, but in the fact that it was Szoboszlai himself who had won possession in the build-up, applying the pressure, regaining the ball, and then stepping up to deliver the killer blow. Signed from Red Bull Leipzig in 2023, his set-piece quality was one of the reasons Liverpool brought him in, with the vision of using him as an attacking midfielder and even as an occasional stand-in for Mohamed Salah on the right. But life at Anfield rarely goes exactly to script. Instead, Szoboszlai had grown into one of the most valuable utility players in the squad, filling in wherever he is needed and never letting the standard drop. Against Arsenal, he was deployed as a right back, and while that was never part of the original plan, he played the role with intelligence and authority. For most of the game, he silenced Gabriel Martinelli, caught off the additional threat of Ricardo Calaflori, and never looked flustered under pressure. His defensive reading was sharp, his duels were strong, and he was always in the right place to cover when required. The bonus of having a player so technically gifted in that position also showed in Liverpool's build-up play. Late in the game, he produced a sweeping diagonal ball across the pitch, the kind of pass that a legendary right back from Liverpool's recent past would have been proud of. It is further proof that Szoboszlai brings more than work rate and energy. He brings vision, execution, and a winning mentality.
Until Szoboszlai steps up and scores an absolute worldie. I mean, look, in fairness to Mascara for Arsenal, what a performance. Comes on for Saliba after 4 minutes. Really, really good performance from him. I thought Arsenal's midfield was good. I thought Liverpool's defence was good. I just think, this happens, and I don't remember.
Arsenal threw everything forward in the dying minutes. Victor Gyökeres came close, but Joe Gomez, standing in for the injured Ibrahima Konate, put his body on the line, blocking the cross and clearing the danger. 7 minutes of added time felt like an eternity for the Liverpool side, but Slot stood firm. They suffered when they had to, defended as champions do, and when the whistle finally blew, they had delivered a statement victory. This match made one thing very clear. Arsenal are still one step away from greatness. Week after week, the same question echoes.
I think you have a great team this season, also last season, so you have a really good chance. I think you are favorite now because you have a player that's been together for 5 years, so I can't say wish you luck, but hopefully we do.
Do they have what it takes to be champions? And today, on August 31st of 2025, the answer is complicated. On paper, yes, they have everything. Sporting director Berta, the king of transfer windows, delivered a squad meticulously built for Mikel Arteta. A 220 million investment brought in the most prolific striker of last year in Victor Gyökeres, the best pivot in the world in Martin Zubimendi, and the most electric left winger in the Premier League in Eberechi Eze. All added to a team that already had the best defense, one of the world's best goalkeepers, and a structure that plays ball as few can in Europe. On paper, this Arsenal is terrifying, but on the biggest stages like Anfield, the reality is brutal. The same problems that haunted them last season remain. Everyone says Arsenal cannot finish, that they struggle to put the ball in net. But today, Liverpool exposed the deeper issue. The problem is not finishing. The problem is creation. Against the champions, Arsenal managed just one shot on target. A single effort for Alisson to deal with. This is not the failure of Gyökeres or of Eze or of the attack. It is the failure to supply them, the failure to build chances with enough consistency. Arsenal's over-reliance on set pieces was obvious. 6 of their first 7 corners, all taken by Declan Rice, were out-swingers, a complete shift from last season when Arsenal had only 4 such deliveries in the entire campaign. With Saka injured and Odegaard, Trossard, and Nwaneri all on the bench, Rice took responsibility, but his delivery lacked bite, and Liverpool's aggression in defending neutralized the threat. Ibrahima Konate, in particular, was immense, commanding his area, winning first contact headers, and refusing to let Arsenal bully their way to a goal. Even though Arsenal had a height advantage, Liverpool defended their box with power and control, proving once again that mentality and organization can erase physical deficits. Yes, Arsenal are still the best defensive unit in the world. Yes, they are dangerous from dead balls, but the truth is unchanged. They do not create enough in open play. Arteta's side cannot go into massive matches and rely only on corners and free kicks. They must take risks. They must push forward with more courage, because football at this level is as much mental as it is tactical. Think of the dressing rooms after this match. In Arne Slot's Liverpool, the message is simple. 3 games, 3 wins. One against their biggest title rival, and a perfect record. They find ways to win, and that is what champions do. In Arsenal's dressing room, the questions remain. Against the biggest rivals, when it is time to prove they can climb that final step, they hesitate. They move too slowly as Declan Rice did in transitions today, and they lack the conviction to believe that they can beat the very best. That is the difference. Liverpool showed that they are still the standard of the Premier League. Arsenal, once again, showed they are close, but still not close enough. For Mikel Arteta, Szoboszlai's free kick must have felt like a sucker punch. The kind of moment that unravels an entire plan in a single strike. He set his team up to compete physically, to stay in the fight until the hour mark, and then unleash his match winners from the bench. But when Liverpool's disallowed goal was ruled out around the 60th minute, that should have been the moment to act. The game was opening up. Arsenal needed technical quality and fresh ideas, yet the changes came too late. Eberechi Eze and Martin Odegaard were introduced, but they barely had time to make an impact before Szoboszlai's wonder strike changed everything. They had combined once, they showed glimpses of creativity, but by then, Arsenal were chasing, not dictating. The opportunity to tilt the balance had passed, and Liverpool never gave them a second chance. This is where Arteta felt the weight of his decisions. Gabriel Martinelli offered almost nothing on the left flank, completely neutralized by Szoboszlai and Gomez. Arsenal's play, as always, tilted towards Bukayo Saka's side, but with Noni Madueke. When that was shut down, there was no alternative. On the bench sat Max Daumann and Eberechi Eze, both of whom, in their short minutes, produced more danger than Martinelli across the entire game. That is the risk Arsenal must take. Braver substitutions, earlier decisions, more willingness to gamble in matches that define the title race. What hurts even more is the deja vu. Just like last season, Arsenal now find themselves in a position where they will have to play catch-up with Liverpool. Even if it is still early, the psychological gap begins to open, and that pressure will only grow as the weeks go by. There can be no excuses this time. Injuries are a part of football, but Arsenal have the depth now. A depth they did not possess before. Yes, Bukayo Saka is essential. Yes, Martin Odegaard is fundamental, but the names are there. The quality is there. The squad is strong enough to cope. That is why the responsibility falls squarely on the mentality. It is time for Arsenal to believe, to play with conviction, and to take the risks necessary to win the biggest matches. Because these 3 points at Anfield are not just numbers on the table. They are the difference between chasing the title and owning it. Liverpool once again showed why they are the best team in England, sending the clearest message yet that they remain the standard of the Premier League. Arne Slot has corrected almost surgically the issues that haunted the first 2 weeks of the season.
Second of all, and might get missed, Liverpool's defence was remarkable.
Ibrahima Konate, criticized for his instability against Newcastle when he misjudged the long ball, looked much steadier, only slipping once against Arsenal before Virgil van Dijk's authority pulled him back into line. Milos Kerkez too answered his critics. Targeted repeatedly by Noni Madueke down the flank, the Hungarian held his own, blocking shots, winning duels, and proving that he is growing into the left-back role Slot envisioned. The tactical masterstroke, however, was Szoboszlai. Many doubted how Florian Wirtz and Szoboszlai could coexist. But Slot's decision to deploy the Hungarian as a hybrid right-back has been nothing short of genius. For 2 matches in a row, he has been man of the match, covering huge areas of the pitch, defending with intelligence, and providing both creativity and steel. His free kick winner was just that of a highlight of another complete performance that confirmed Slot has found a role that maximizes his influence. Florian Wirtz also looked more liberated, involved heavily in creation, and increasingly dangerous near the box. Hugo Ekitike remained Slot's deadliest weapon, stretching Arsenal's defense with constant movements, while Mohamed Salah, even when below his best, carried his eternal threat. In midfield, Alex McAllister and Ryan Gravenberch were crucial in slowing Declan Rice's influence, cutting off Arsenal's rhythm and tilting the game in Liverpool's favor. At the back, Van Dijk and Konate were dominant, refusing to allow Viktor Gyökeres to impose himself. The Swedish striker looked like a giant in Portugal, unstoppable in one-on-ones, but in the Premier League he has found equals in strength and reading of the game. Against Liverpool, he looked ordinary, swallowed by a defense that has become Slot's greatest achievement. The bigger picture is undeniable. Liverpool sit on 9 points from 9. Having already passed 2 of their hardest tests, Newcastle away and Arsenal at home, without even hitting top form. That is the mark of champions. Once the transfer window closes and Slot has a settled squad, this team will only grow sharper, stronger, and more ruthless. 3 games, 3 wins, and the clearest statement of all. Liverpool are still the team to beat, and the rest of the league must find a way to match them. What comes next for Liverpool is nothing short of electrifying. This is a team that will only get better week after week as Arne Slot's methods sink deeper and the squad gains rhythm. And the transfer window is far from finished. All eyes are waiting for Fabrizio Romano's famous "Here we go."
We're using the word replacement right now, and you alluded to it in your opening, Jules. It does mean we think that Alexander Isak is moving on then, and that deal's going to get done, right?
Well, yeah, I think that's the perception we get here in England. I was told today that the deal is very much on. Liverpool are ready to put another offer. We know that their first offer of £110 million was rejected by Newcastle, who won at least £130 million, which would obviously smash the record of highest transfer fee for a player in the Premier League. They are, I think, waiting for Newcastle to open the door a bit more. Newcastle are also looking for a second striker, whether that's Wissa. They still are quite keen, I think, on Wissa. It won't be Strand Larsen, who's too similar of a profile than Voltemade, as Ali just explained. Similar kind of player, certainly in terms of size. So Wissa potentially, but for Isak, who is ready and waiting to go to Liverpool, I think it makes him closer to Liverpool than certainly it was 2 days ago before Voltemade was signed.
We were starting to think
Because Alexander Isak is set to become a Liverpool player. Just imagine it. On the left flank, Alexander Isak. As the number 10, Florian Wirtz. On the right, Mohamed Salah. And through the middle, Hugo Ekitike. The front four looks less like a football team and more like a PlayStation fantasy. With that kind of firepower, goals will rain down on Anfield this season. Isak arrives with a Premier League proven record. 62 goals and 10 assists at Newcastle. The kind of numbers that confirm Liverpool are not just signing talent. They're signing guaranteed production. Slot's attack is about to be revolutionized. But that is not all.
Transfer window closes on Monday. If they could sign somebody, is it Mark Gahey, the one that Liverpool really should go for?
Yes, without question. I think Liverpool still need cover defensively, particularly in that centre-back position. I know there'll be huge question marks about who becomes the starting two centre-backs, but that's a good problem for Slot to have. I think they desperately need cover, and today kind of highlighted that.
Liverpool have also submitted an official $35 million bid for Mark Gahey of Crystal Palace, a defender who has become one of England's most reliable centre-backs. Palace are reluctant to let him go, especially this late in the market. But Gahey has just 1 year left on his contract and no intention to extend. The talks have been cordial, the relationship between the clubs is strong, and an agreement would bring one of England's Euros 2024 stalwarts to Anfield. Gahey has already played 155 times for Palace since leaving Chelsea, captaining them to their first ever FA Cup trophy, and with 23 England caps, he would bring leadership and composure to Slot's defense. A partnership of Van Dijk, Konate, and Gahey rotating at the back would give Liverpool the depth they need to survive the demands of the Premier League and Champions League without losing stability. So here's the truth. Liverpool already sit on 9 points from 9, already look like the team to beat, and they're about to add a proven Premier League striker and one of the nation's best defenders. If they were terrifying before, what comes next could make them unstoppable.
Yeah, I think both those deals will get done. Yeah, I would imagine so. It looks like Liverpool put a bid in last night. I think they're arguing or fighting over 5 million, which is probably peanuts now in this day and age.
What comes next for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal is a true test of character. Nottingham Forest, Athletic Bilbao in the Champions League, a home clash against Manchester City, and then a trip to Newcastle. This is not just a run of fixtures. It is a gauntlet that will define whether Arsenal are genuine contenders or once again the nearly men of English football. After a $220 million summer investment, and with the kind of depth they now possess, there can be no more excuses. Arsenal cannot settle for being close. This team has been built to win, not to chase. With Eberechi Eze, Victor Gyökeres, and Martin Zubimendi added to the squad that already boasted the league's best defense, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and the core that has been growing together for years, the time for waiting is over.
There's no excuses.
Yeah.
Right? But this team needs to stay injury-free. You've now built a squad that look like they can stay injury-free. I just feel like there's more depth now to rotate, whereas Saka's not going to be running to the ground.
Yeah.
Gabriel doesn't need to be running the ground. You've got Mosquera there, Calafiori can play there. Ben White and Timber, if they're both fit, they can rotate. There's no excuses for Arsenal this season, man.
The standards are higher now. For Arsenal, a good season is no longer finishing second or pushing a title race until May. A good season is lifting the Premier League trophy or the Champions League. Nothing less. Anything else will fall short of the level this squad has reached.
What do you think of the current Arsenal situation of sort of 6 years now, 5-6 years without a trophy, but they're building and they're sort of getting better each time?
That's a tall building now. The building is tall. There's a lot of the building is really tall. It's, you know.
Arteta has spent years cultivating this group, shaping their identity and adding piece by piece. Now, the crop must be harvested. To fail again would risk Arsenal becoming the English version of Atletico Madrid under Simeone. A team always in the fight, always respected, but only rarely crowned. The difference is, even Simeone delivered 2 La Liga titles. Arsenal, by contrast, have been waiting for decades. Their fans are hungry, desperate for silverware, and Arteta owes them the taste of glory. The ceiling is high, perhaps the highest it has been in 2 decades, but now, Arsenal must smash through it. The fixtures ahead will demand courage, creativity, and conviction. They cannot afford to be timid. They cannot afford to repeat the mistakes of last season. This is their time to prove they are more than contenders. This is their time to be champions. This match revealed everything. Liverpool showcased they are the maximum candidate for the Premier League crown. The team that has the mentality, the resilience, and the killer instinct to go all the way. Arsenal showed that yes, they have everything, the players, the talent, the tactics, and the ambition, but still, somehow, they end up just short. And that is the story of the Premier League right now. Liverpool are the champions to beat. Arsenal are the challengers who almost make it. Until they prove otherwise, until they win the matches that define titles, the gap remains.